This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and super happy to have in the studio with me Larry Cohen, the board chair of Our Revolution, the board chair of Democracy Initiative, the past president of the Communication Workers of America, CWA, vice chair of the new DNC Unity Committee. The website, of course, ourrevolution.com. And you can tweet Larry at Our Revolution. And Larry, welcome back.
Great to see you.
Great to have you with us. And let me just point that microphone right at your mouth there.
Okay.
There we go. So first of all, in general, what is the state of our revolution? How are we doing?
Well, we're trying to move from resistance to change. And so internally in Our Revolution, lots of focus on local groups. We had a live stream, not this past Sunday, the one before, from Our Revolution in Maryland with a bunch of our board that we live streamed to hundreds of groups about, how do these groups function and what do groups do? And so the actual organizing structure rather than just event to event to event to event. But what are we building here?
How do the groups function? I mean, if somebody's listening right now and they say, I'd like to start an Our Revolution group, how do you do it? What do you do?
So any 10 members, they could be in your house, whatever. A member is anybody who comes to a meeting. So if you called an Our Revolution meeting in your house and you had 10 people come and they joined, they can join online, or you can download that form and they join there. And there's no dues. You just have to show up at one event, or you can donate any amount of money, $1 a year, any amount, or show up at one event. And so then you have a group. So what do groups do? So groups do three things. First of all, issue campaigns, local issues, state issues, national issues. Secondly, candidates and ballot measures. They endorse candidates. They convince you to run for office. They take on ballot measures. Third, many of the groups are trying to help build, we'll call it, or change the Democratic Party. So it turned out that most of the precinct chairs of the party are unfilled. So we've gotten thousands of people to fill them.
Literally most of the Democratic Party?
I mean, that's because
chairs?
they're geographic, So in a state like Montana that we may talk about, 3/4 of them probably were unfilled.
Wow.
Wyoming, I know more than half were because I was working with folks there.
Wow. So, yeah, you just mentioned Montana. Our Revolution has been supporting Rob Quist there. How's that going?
Good. I mean, it's been 1996 since Democrats have won that seat. This isn't a traditional Democrat. This is an independent type guy. He's our kind of guy. And he's well known as a songwriter, singer. So, he's the real deal. Grew up there. And he's traveling the state. He's up against somebody worth, tens of millions of dollars.
The Republican who's challenging.
The Republican who moved there from New Jersey, where I spent 20 years. So kick out New Jersey. We want Montana.
There you go. In Montana, anyway.
Yeah, in Montana, anyway.
Makes perfect sense.
Probably in New Jersey, we should kick out New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That is. Happy to have that one day.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bernie may show up there. I'm not totally positive to help. We won that primary, but he's got to get independent voters. That's the key in a place like Montana. To say, hey, I am independent. I'm not from the big money crowd. I'm one of you. I did grow up here. We don't need a corporate Montana like his opponent. We need a people's Montana representative. And they do have one of their two senators. John Tester is a Democrat, and the Governor Bullock is a Democrat. So it's not like you can't win. Same electorate. Right. They only have one congressional district.
Right. You said he's not like a typical, or you didn't use the word typical. I forget the word you used, Democrat.
Never ran for office before.
One of my concerns is that we end up splitting the Democratic Party. We end up in internecine warfare like we're seeing in the Republican Party right now. My understanding is that Our Revolution is trying to be collaborative rather than confrontational within the Democratic Party.
Well, we're very picky about getting involved in these kind. He got nominated at a state convention, so there's not two Democrats.
Right.
Not like that Georgia race.
Right.
So he is it. So it's him versus somebody worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Good plan.
Yeah.
You were in. There was an Our Revolution meeting in Texas last week. Tell us about that.
Yeah, our friend Jim Hightower has been awesome there. Him and his small staff from the lowdown in helping local groups band together. So we start with local groups in a bunch of states. Texas, amazingly, thanks to him, one of them. The local groups have banded together, and in Texas they formed 11 regions, and then each of the regions elected a couple of people, and they met statewide. in his office, which is an old church. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I've not.
It's awesome. From 1905, Church of the Nazarene with high tower preaching.
Whoa.
But it's got a big room. They pulled out all the pews, and we met in there. And I was there. So there they were, from El Paso to Tyler, from Brownsville to Waco. All of Texas. People had driven in, and they stayed at each other's houses. This is the old-time populism of Texas with a 21st century progressive look.
Do you think it's possible to flip Texas?
Well, I think we flip it again. One of the things is changing the Democratic Party there, and these folks are getting involved. That's another place where probably the majority of precinct chairs were unfilled. Yeah, I do. I think there is a formula there for populist economics and focus on public education and on Medicare for all, and the kinds of things people care about: their health care, their education, their kids, their parents.
One of the things that really concerns me lately is the total destruction or co-opting of the word populist. I mean,
Yeah.
the corporate media talks about Donald Trump as a populist. I don't see him as a populist at all. Maybe a racist, but that, I don't see why racism is populism. Nativism, that's not populism. Let's do a definition of terms here. What do you mean when you say populist?
So first of all, the historical term populism in the U.S. started in Texas, really, and it was sharecroppers and workers together. They were black and white and brown. And so when Hightower talks about populism in Texas, he's talking about something from the grassroots, from the prairie, from across Texas, from the bottom, rather than kind of an orchestrated political movement, and about the people, not about the corporation. So even in 1900, when it was quite a force there, it was basically against the bankers. And the other Hightower words, I'm not saying them. I'm afraid to go there anymore. So there's two other B words that he associates with the bankers. But it was largely against those bankers back then in 1900. And I would say similarly, people have had enough of this kind of oligarchy, as Bernie called it, dominating our political life, our economic life, and even beyond that, our media, et cetera.
Yeah. Okay. The Unity Reform Commission, most people, I think, don't even realize that the Democratic Party created this commission to intentionally. I mean, people inside the DNC said, we need to reform the DNC.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring together the people from, in shorthand, the Clinton and the Bernie the Hillary and the Bernie factions. But it's really broader than that. I mean, the Democratic Party
is where they come from.
But those are the two major camps, and we're going to bring everybody together and try to unify this party. And you are on that committee.
The vice chair from the Sanders side. The chair is from the Clinton side, Jen Dillon. And we start face-to-face. We've started already, but face-to-face on Friday here in D.C., Friday and Saturday. There'll be 5 similar meetings around the country during the year, focused on 3 things. So the resolution that created this commission mandates that 2/3 of the superdelegates will not have any say in the 2020 presidential nominating process. Mm-hmm. So that will cut it from 715 to about 250.
Right.
Secondly, how does the primary and caucus nominating procedure work in 2020? How should it work? And third, probably most importantly, how do you make, back to your previous comment, the Democratic Party a popular grassroots party that people feel they own and that represents them and not big money? So it's got 3 buckets, really, and that's where we'll be focused starting Friday.
Are any of those things with which your counterpart disagrees? I mean, or is there a broad sense of consensus in the Democratic Party? And the question is, how do we do it? Or are there still folks in the Democratic Party who are holding to the old third way DLC stuff of, well, we really need to bring in the bankers, we really need to bring in the,
Yeah, I mean, as you know, we lost the resolution in a floor vote on February 25th in Atlanta to go back to the old Obama rule for 7 years, no corporate money at the DNC. It was very close, but we lost that vote. Lots of people believe need the money from wherever you get it, and what they forget is that for regular folks, we're a little shy of contributing when we know the big money's coming in.
Right. So, yeah.
So, yes, the answer to your question, I could have given you a simple answer. Yes, many people still believe that continuity versus change works.
So to wrap this up, Larry Cohen, board chair of Our Revolution, where do you see the Democratic Party going in general? Are you
the
optimistic?
good news is many states continue to change. Colorado, most recently, new leadership. California will be voting in a couple of weeks. So I think the change occurs county by county, state by state. But I've seen even in Maryland, new energy at the party level out in Western Maryland, Garrett County, Washington County, never before. So I think that's the optimism. Hopefully, we can also see change at the national level in the party, but I think it'll come from the grassroots. That's where it should come from.
It always has. I mean, all real change has always been driven from the bottom up, never from the top down. Larry Cohen.
Okay, pleasure.
Great to have you, Larry.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yep. We'll be right back. Stick around for more.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
At Our Revolution is the Twitter account, and the website is ourrevolution.com.